Hi there. So today we are going to have a mini lesson on MLA formatting. You will see me using the projector today to give you a little bit more information. Hopefully it is easier than the handouts that are in each of your modules. All right, this is going to be a mini lesson on MLA formatting just to get you going. Now in all of the modules, or most of them anyway, there is information about MLA formatting. So please refer to that when you are doing your longer responses and your essays. So if you just want to follow along here, if you go to Google, one of the most reliable sources for MLA information is the OWL Purdue website. So if you just type in OWL Purdue followed by MLA, it will take you, it'll be your first one here, it'll take you to this website, which you can just click on. Now, this is coming from Purdue University, and it has information about various different types of formatting that you can use in English, psychology, many other subjects as well. Specifically for English, we are using MLA formatting. When you have a moment, please take the time to navigate this website. It's fairly straightforward, but there is a lot of information on here, as you can see. So here are some of the other style guides that you can use. Obviously MLA formatting, APA if you're doing something like psychology, Chicago guide. But like I said, for this class, we will only be using MLA formatting. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of different topics that you can click on here to better understand how to produce writing in MLA formatting. So obviously you can just look at the in-text citations, the basics on how to do it, how to do your works cited. We, for this class, will not be doing any endnotes or footnotes, but obviously if you go off to post-secondary, you will need to know how to do that. Obviously the works cited page, just basic formatting. In your modules, I do provide additional information about your works cited page, and I can go through it again in another lesson as well. So yeah, you just need to spend some time navigating this page. I will go through basic formatting here fairly quickly. So if you click on this link here, it will give us a file that we can actually download and open up. And it gives the MLA formatting. So I won't be reading through all the blue and green text. I will just be discussing it a little bit faster, but please make sure you read through it. It does give some very valuable information on exactly how to format your paper. So to start, bring it down here a bit, you will notice we have 1-inch margins around the outside, all the way around the outside. It might be a little bit difficult for you to tell because we obviously do have this, this blue and green information, but the margins are 1 inch. Top right-hand corner is whoever wrote it, so you being the author, the last name, followed by a space, followed by the number, the page number, so number 1. Then on near the top, so you would just click return once. Left-hand side, you have your full name. So first and last name here, this is very important. The next line is my name or your teacher's name. You don't need to call me professor, you can call me Mrs., that's just fine. The next line is your class. So in this case, it would be English, A30, B30, A31, B31, whichever class you are taking. And you can either write English or you could write ELA, English Language Arts. That's also fine. The following line is your fourth line, and that is the date that you created this text or this paper. The date, the way it's formatted, is not critical. It does look best if it is the day followed by the month, followed by the year, with just a space in between, no commas or periods or anything. But if you would prefer, for example, for this February 12, 2012, if you would prefer to put February space 12, comma, space 2012, that would be acceptable as well. But if you are going off to post-secondary education, this is the proper way to do it. Then you're simply going to push return one time and create your title. Your title should be something unique to what you are writing about, so unique to your essay or your assignment. You will note that the title is not in any bold font, not in any italicized. Of course, it would be italicized if you were commenting in your title a novel or a book or something like that. But typically your title is just basic font, the same font that you would use throughout your entire paper. It is no bigger, so it is the same size font as your paper as well as the rest of your text. You will have capital letters though at the beginning of most words. Then you're simply going to, oh, and one more note, it is centerized. Then you're simply going to push return once and begin writing your essay. You will note that each new paragraph is indented. If you are unable to push the indent button or the tab button on your computer, you simply could use the space bar and push the space bar 5 times to get that indentation. That would be fine as well. If we scroll down here, moving on to the second paragraph, simply we are just pushing return once. There is no extra space, no extra lines in between here. Starting your next paragraph, simply again, push the tab bar. If you are unable to do that, you may push the space bar 5 times. Now, moving on, this is what a lot of people seem to forget. Moving on to the next page. Now we are on page 2. The top right-hand corner needs to have the author's last name, followed by a space, followed by the page number. So you are the author, so your last name, followed by a space, followed by the page number. And then simply click return, push return, and continue on with your paper. Again, no extra line breaks in here, no extra spaces. We'll talk about the spacing though in a few minutes here. And then just keep going on to the very end. Again, page 3, author's last name, which is you, followed by a space, followed by the page number. This is all just other information that you can go ahead and read at your leisure. I just wanted to make quick note of the works cited page. This is a fairly long text in their example. So here is our works cited page. We will talk more about works cited later, but just as a basic kind of informational thing here, your works cited page needs to be on a brand new page. So even if the end of your essay only takes up a little bit of that page, it doesn't matter. Your works cited page has to start on a new page. At the top right-hand side, you will still have your last name, followed by a space, followed by the page number. Then you're simply going to click return one time, and the title is work cited. Works cited if you have more than one site that you are referring to. Again, capital W, capital C, it is kind of like a title, but this is no bigger font. It is not capitalized, italicized, nothing. Same size font as the rest of your text, and then your works cited looks something like this. Always goes in ABC order, so alphabetical order. And you will note that if your source that you are citing takes up more than one line, it has to be tabbed here. But we will talk more. All right, now this is another example of MLA formatting. This is actually done by a student that was in my class and took this course with me. I have obviously changed the name just to John Doe, just to protect the student. Now, I'm not saying that the writing in this essay is perfect, but we're not worrying about the actual material that they have provided. We are just looking at the formatting on this one. So, like I said, this MLA OWL Purdue website is your most reliable source. So please make sure you are very familiar with it. It has so much information. It's step by step. If you're unsure though, obviously please ask. Okay, so like I said, this is a student, I'm just gonna close this. This is a student example. This one's easier to tell because obviously we don't have the blue and green writing around the side with the informational stuff, so this one should be easier for you to visualize and easier for me to explain the basic formatting. So for MLA formatting, we have 1-inch margins along all the outside. So the 4 borders, they're all 1 inch. Now if you're typing this out on a laptop or a desktop computer, this is automatically preset for you, so you shouldn't have to do any additional formatting. If you are just simply typing this out in or on your phone in your notes, the formatting obviously will not look like this. So please do your best after you do type it out in your notes that you are able to paste it into a Google Docs account and then email it to me or share it with me, because then at least the formatting will look a lot more accurate. Google Docs, if you do open up a Google Docs account and type on there, super simple to do. Again, the formatting will already be mostly done for you, so it makes it very easy and user-friendly. So 1-inch margins. Your font, if you are typing it out on Google Docs or on your computer, the font should be pretty standard. Cambria is a good font to use. Times New Roman. There are several different ones that are great to use. Please do not use something bubbly or italicized or calligraphy. It just needs to be a very basic font. Like I said though, if you're typing it on a computer, your font should already be pre-selected for you, and it should be a font that is acceptable for a paper like this, a scholarly paper. Also, 12-point font, again, would be preset for you as well. That is the font size you need to use. Not bold, not italicized, not underlined. Basic font, 12-point. Also, you need to have everything left margin, so this one would need to be selected. You need to line everything left. And your paragraph, we're clicking on here, it needs to show before and after at 0 points, and your line spacing needs to be double. So you're double spacing your whole assignment or your whole essay. After all that formatting is done, which again, most of that should be preset for you if you're typing it on Google Docs or doing it in a Word document on a computer. Then for your actual typing of your text. So at the top, right-hand side, the corner, you need to have your last name followed by a space followed by the page number. This is super important for your MLA formatting. Then click return one time, it'll take you to the left side. On your left side margin, you need to have this information. Your first and last name. So not just your first name, not just an initial, I'd like your first and last name. Then return. Then you need your teacher's name or your professor's name. So for me, you could put Mrs. Lisa Mann, that would be fine. Unacceptable would be just to put Lisa or teacher. You need to have your instructor's full name, please. Then click return again, and you need to have your class listed. So this class for this specific essay was ELA A30, so English Language Arts A30. Then click return again, then you need to have your date. So this is the proper formatting for the date. The day with a space, followed by the month with a space, then followed by the year. Some of you would prefer, in this case, to write December 4th or 4, 2020. That's also acceptable, but if you are going off to post-secondary education, this is the proper formatting to use. So if I was you, I would get used to using this proper formatting now so that you're more comfortable as you go off to your whatever post-secondary you choose. Then click return. This next line is your title. It needs to be centerized. So for this, you'd have to click the centerized button. Your title should be something that relates to your assignment or your essay. So in this case, it says, The Painted Door and the Lamp at Noon Literary Comparison. So I know that the painted door, it's in quotation marks, It is the title of a short story. The lamp at noon is also in quotation marks. It is the title of another short story. And it is a literary comparison. So I know by reading this title that the author, the person writing this, is going to be comparing these two texts. It's very obvious. Your title should be the same size font. It shouldn't be bold, nothing. It should just look plain like this. Make sure it is centralized though. Then simply click return and you may start writing the bulk of your essay. Now, I do want to note, each new paragraph needs to be indented, so it needs to be tabbed. Simply click the tab button on your spacebar, which is near the top left side. Or if you're unable to do that, for example, if you're typing on Google Docs on your phone, you simply could just hit the spacebar 5 times to get this to tab over. Now, as we scroll down, again, I don't want you to actually bother reading the actual text that this student has written because that is irrelevant right now. All I am showing you is MLA formatting and how the formatting should look. So you will notice as we move down, the whole first paragraph is left margins. So everything is left margin. It's not centralized, this text. It's not equal margins on both sides. It's all left. Everything is the same size font, 12-point font. Cambria is the font that they have selected. Nothing is bold or italicized. And then if we keep moving down, we are now on to the second page. And on the second page, you will see that they have included their last name, followed by a space, followed by the page number on the top right-hand corner. This is really important. A lot of you typically forget to do this. I'm not sure why, but you do, and it is important. The person reading your text needs to know what page they were on, so make sure you include this. Then simply click return and make sure your margins are set to the left-hand side, and you can start typing your second paragraph. Now, again, the beginning of your second paragraph needs to be indented. It needs to be tabbed over. So you can simply click the tab bar on the top left-hand side of your keyboard, or if you don't have that ability, you can click the space bar about 5 times to get this to tab over. Now I want to make a note here because you can see, you couldn't tell on page 1 to page 2. This paragraph has now finished. The second paragraph has finished. The author is starting the next paragraph. All they have done is clicked return 1 time, pushed the tab bar and started typing. A lot of you seem to think that you should have an extra space in here. No, everything needs to be spaced out the exact same, which is your double-spaced font. And then keep going. Now we are on to page 3, and again, this author has included their last name, followed by a space, followed by the page number on the top right-hand side, and then they've continued their writing. And you can see this just keeps going. There, now we are at the works cited. So it looks like this person did not use any outside sources besides the 2 texts, the lamp at noon and the painted door. So they didn't use any other books, any other internet websites, nothing like that. So at the top of their page, they have their last name followed by a space, followed by the page number. Then they've clicked return 1 time, and this needs to be centralized. This is called works cited or work cited if it's singular, if you're only citing one thing. The W and the C need to be capitalized. Now, works cited page needs to be its own page. It doesn't matter how many words or how much of the paper the end of your essay took up. It doesn't matter. Even if it only takes up 1 line, your works cited still needs to start on a brand new page. A lot of people forget that. Your works cited is also no more special than the rest of your text. It still needs to be the same font, the same double spacing. Everything needs to be the same. So you're going to have works cited in the center. This is important. It's almost like a title. Then click return one time and begin putting your information in. So your works cited is simply information for your reader. So if your reader wanted to see where you got some of the information from, or maybe they were perhaps curious and wanted to find that information for their own knowledge or satisfaction, they could do that. So your works cited needs to include as much information as you possibly can. So this person, like I said, only used the lamp at noon and the painted door. So just the two texts we were reading in class. These need to be in ABC order, each of your works cited, based on the author's last name. Now this one was simple because both of these texts have the same author. Now, I will go through works cited later on a little bit more, but this is the basic formatting. Like mentioned before, when I was showing you the example from the Purdue website, if your works cited, if your citation, your source goes beyond one line, the next line needs to be tabbed or indented. So push the tab button again or push the space bar 5 times. But like I said, I will go through works cited again later in more detail. Now, this is a handout that I've included in most of the modules that require some type of writing or essay. This all is just information that was simply copied and pasted directly from the OWL at Purdue MLA formatting website. So this is nothing special that I wrote. This is just directly copied and pasted. There is so much information on that OWL at Purdue website that I just copy and pasted the things that I think would help you out the most. So it's just summarized, and that's why I included it in the module. So I'm not going to go through all this. If you are wondering exactly where this information came from, there is at the bottom the website from the OWL at Purdue, so that you know where it came from, and so you know that I didn't, or I have not claimed it as my own. And then here is an example. But again, I have included examples in your modules as well for you to make it a lot easier for you. So all the basic rules. You will note here, new to MLA in 2016, MLA, it constantly does change and adapt to the times. It is a fluid document, so just understand that MLA formatting as you use it today may not be the same in a few years from now or even next year. Who knows, next week. Things do change, so you just need to adapt. So that's just saying in 2016 there was a few rules that have changed. So just to make note of that.